Welcome to the Big D Breakdown. I'm your host, Larry Lease. On today's episode, we dive into the latest headlines from around AT&T Stadium. But first, we gotta thank our sponsor, Game Time. Are you a sports fan looking for the best deals on tickets to your favorite games? Look no further than Game Time. As a trusted affiliate of Game Time, we are excited to offer you access to the hottest tickets for sport events all around the country. With Game Time, you can quickly and easily find and purchase tickets to the games you want to see. Whether you're looking for NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, and even the XFL, or any other type of sporting event, Game Time offers an intuitive platform that makes it easy to search for and purchase tickets. In their mobile app, it's the perfect companion for fans on the go. Plus, with a 100% guarantee on all ticket purchases, you can rest easy knowing that your experience will be stress-free and enjoyable. So why wait? Join the thousands of satisfied sports fans who have used Game Time to secure the best seats in the house. Whether you're looking for a last-minute ticket or planning ahead, Game Time has you covered. Start browsing now and get ready to cheer on your favorite team. Just use the link in the description and you can help support the channel to grow. And now on to our first topic. Five massive unknowns for the Cowboys heading to the 2023 offseason. Every team has plenty of questions and issues to figure out as they prepare for the 2023 NFL season. The Dallas Cowboys have a few of their own. Some have been highlighted while others haven't. Either way, this front office has some major decisions coming up that they need to figure out. And today's first topic, 5 massive unknowns for the Cowboys heading into the 2023 offseason. Every team has plenty of questions and issues to figure out as they prepare for the NFL season, and the Dallas Cowboys have a few of their own. Some have been highlighted while others haven't. Either way, this front office has some major decisions coming up that they need to figure out. Jerry Jones and VP of Player Personnel Stephen Jones are both of the mindset that this team isn't far off from competing in the Super Bowl. But what they do heading into the 2023 season could have massive consequences on this team's future. If Dallas truly believes they can get back to the Super Bowl, they are going to need to figure out that massive unknowns before they can have any type of preconceived thoughts about hoisting the Lombardi Trophy again. We're going to take a look at some of these unknown situations the Cowboys face this offseason. Starting with number 1, wide receiver depth. If you've been following the Cowboys, you know that the wide receiver has been a hot topic for this team. One they thought they had figured out was when they traded for Amari Cooper, but that quickly came to an end. And now Dallas is back to square one when it comes to adding receiver talent around Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup was another player the Cowboys have faith in, but after another surprise surgery on the opposite knee and ankle, Dallas has to wonder if Gallup is starting to decline or simply won't improve relative to expectations. The team drafted Jalen Tolbert, but his inability to make the active roster leaves questions surrounding him as well. In trying to fix the mess, the Cowboys courted and tried to trade for receivers Odell Beckham Jr., chief among them, but all those plans fell through and Dallas eventually signed T.Y. Hilton. Hilton is now a free agent, and the Cowboys could go in another direction with him as well. One thing is for sure, the Cowboys have a big problem at receiver. Other than Lamb, the rest of their receivers' inability to consistently create separation is something they are going to need to figure out if they want to have any chances of building on 2022 and keep up with an Eagles team that just made it to a Super Bowl and stay ahead of a Giants team that is starting to turn things around. Next up, and number 2, Ezekiel Elliott's contract. This shouldn't be a question, just cut him. Another situation worth monitoring when it comes to the Cowboys' offensive playmakers has to be the contract status of Ezekiel Elliott, who was overshadowed by Tony Pollard the last 2 seasons. Now with Pollard set to become a free agent, the Cowboys are stuck in a position where Elliott's large contract could hinder them from making the necessary moves to keep Pollard, possibly bring in more players to help build this roster. Both Jerry and Stephen Jones have stated that they want to keep Elliott around, but they know that the contract they have with him isn't worth what he's giving them on the football field. Seems like Elliott knows that his contract is going to be a major focus for the Cowboys, and he appears willing to work on fixing that in order to stay on the team and play with his best friend Dak Prescott. Time will tell if both sides are able to work out a new deal, much like the team did with defensive end Marcus Lawrence last season. If they can, great. If not, things could get very interesting as the team looks to revamp that running back group. And next up at number 3, free agency players. The Cowboys fan base has been begging the front office to be more active in the free agency market. And yet, season after season, we keep getting disappointed by the Jones family. This front office has prided itself on being able to find quality talent in the draft and late free agency in order to save money. That strategy has allowed them to be contenders in the regular season. Once the playoff comes around, though, it's clear that they need more talent on the roster in order to make deeper runs in an effort to get back to the Super Bowl. Jerry and Stephen Jones have said that they are going to be looking at players in free agency in 2023. But we've heard this from them in the past, only to see quality players given a reasonable contract by other teams, while the Cowboys sit back and wait in order to go bargain hunting late in free agency. They have said that they are looking to talk with Odell Beckham Jr. again in free agency, but until they prove it by making a significant investment in order to build a better team, this will continue to be a massive unknown for this fan base. And number 4, starting offensive line. When Dallas drafted Tyler Smith in the first round last year, many were scratching their heads about the selection. After seeing how well he performed during the 2022 season at left tackle with Tyron Smith out of the lineup, they were applauded for the selection. Here, though, lies the issue. What do the Cowboys do at left tackle? Tyler Smith played very well in that spot, and the Cowboys willing to risk stunting his development at left tackle in order to slide Tyron Smith back in as the starter? Another wrinkle in this situation is Tyron Smith's contract. Based on how often he's been injured as of late, the Cowboys aren't going to want to restructure his contract. They also can't keep paying him that amount of money if they plan to move on from him soon and allow Tyler Smith to be their new left tackle. They could keep Smith as their swing tackle, but again, they would need to do something about that contract that comes along with keeping Tyron Smith on the roster. And next up, number 5, who the hell is the Cowboys' next kicker? Since the release of Dan Bailey back in 2018, Dallas has had 6 different kickers on their active roster, with the last being Brett Maher's second stint with the team. He started off strong, but struggled mightily at the end of the season, and Dallas is now faced with, once again, trying to find a reliable kicker to add to this roster in order to find some semblance of consistency. We know they aren't going to bring back their kicker, but they can't go into the season without knowing who their next kicker is going to be. Much like many other teams, the Cowboys will have options on how they decide to fill this position, whether it be through the draft like they did in 2022 before turning to Maher, or going out and signing 2 free agent kickers to come in and battle it out for the roster spot. Let us know your thoughts on this topic in the comment section below. What do you think the Cowboys need to answer as they head into the new season, or in the off season, I should say? Let us know. And now on to our next topic. And now we're going to talk about 5 moves that will turn the Cowboys into a Super Bowl contender. The Dallas Cowboys are heading into the season, the 2023 season that is, looking to build on the success they had in 2022. Never seen as a team that is rebuilding, the Cowboys front office always seems to have a plan going into free agency and the draft. If they want to return to their former glory, they will need to make some moves that are out of character for this team as of late. Spend money. The trend around the league lately has been to spend money in order to make deep runs and get to the Super Bowl. The Rams, Buccaneers, Eagles, and Chiefs all made aggressive moves in free agency, and they all paid off for them. The Cowboys need to follow suit, and instead of building through the draft, which they are extremely good at, go out and spend money on players that haven't been a part of your organization. They can spend money on their own players if they feel they really need them back, but they need impact players that can come in and make the team a true Super Bowl contender once again. So we're going to talk about 5 moves that could get them back into the Super Bowl conversation. Starting off with number 1, which we previously discussed in the last segment, sign a highly touted wide receiver. It's always a difficult balancing act when teams are looking to add free agent talent to their roster. You want someone that can come in and make an immediate impact, but it isn't going to be a headache in the locker room. Cowboys are in this exact situation heading into 2023. They know they need receiver help and look to bring someone in and even trade for a player in 2022 to help Prescott in this offense. But were unable to finalize a deal. The closest they may have gotten was with the courting of Odell Beckham Jr. That also fell through due to his recovery time from the ACL injury he suffered in the Super Bowl. Beckham Jr. is now posting videos of his workouts in order to show teams he's going to be ready for the 2023 season. That should be all the Dallas front office needs in order to get them back on board and starting negotiations with OBJ. Adding a receiver of his caliber would immediately help this offense. With his route running ability and his knowledge of all 3 receiver positions, taking pressure off CeeDee Lamb and Prescott. The Cowboys were the closest team to signing Beckham Jr., and that should give them the upper hand against other teams if they can start talking to him early enough, and would be a win-win situation for both sides if they can work out a deal. Number 2, sign Daron Payne. The Cowboys need an impact defensive lineman in the middle of their defense, one that can provide ideal run support, but also give them pass rush ability. Commanders free agent Daron Payne would be that player for the Cowboys, and adding him to their already dangerous defensive front would boost the defense to heights we haven't seen before. Payne's unique combination of power and speed is something that you don't normally see for a 320-pound defensive tackle who's generated 40 tackles for loss and 26 sacks since entering the league. Signing Payne would be a home run for Dallas's efforts to shore up their run defense, while at the same time weakening a division rival. Payne isn't going to come cheap though, so if the Cowboys are really looking to make a splash, this might be one of the only big moves you'll see from this front office and free agency. Next up, re-sign a key defensive player, as in bring back Leighton Vander Esch. If there was anyone on this Cowboys roster in 2022 who showed just how valuable they are on this team, Leighton Vander Esch has to be at the top or close to the top of their list. His play against the run was the best we've seen from the linebacker since his arrival in 2018, when he had 140 total tackles. If the Cowboys are smart, they will work on bringing back Vander Esch quickly in order to get a deal done that works for both sides. Before we move on, let us know in the comment section below, should the Cowboys bring back Leighton Vander Esch? Getting Vander Esch back on the roster and having him play behind Payne would allow him to be even more of a problem for offenses in the running game. It would also allow the Cowboys to look at filling other needs instead of scouting linebackers in the upcoming draft. Not to mention, it would keep LVE paired with Micah Parsons, which has proven to be a strong duo on the field together. Next up, number 4, draft a top receiver. It's no secret that the Cowboys are going to look at taking another wide receiver in the 2023 draft to help this offense. The addition of a free agent receiver isn't going to be enough, and in order to improve this offense, Dallas is going to need to take a receiver in either the first or second round of this draft if they want to get someone who can come in and help this offense quickly. They tried last season with Jalen Tolbert, but he didn't even see the field last season, leaving little confidence that he can take a step forward heading into 2023. The Cowboys need someone who can beat press coverage and slippery enough to run routes and consistently create space for Prescott to build enough confidence in him to throw him the football. The draft has quite a few receivers that they will be able to choose from, but the one thing they can't do is cross receivers off their list based on their size. If Tyreek Hill has shown us anything, it says that size means nothing if you can shake and outrun anyone put in front of you. And at number 5, draft a starting cornerback. The Cowboys have found their stud cornerback for the foreseeable future in Trayvon Diggs. The problem they have right now is they don't have a reliable option that can come in and play opposite him. Anthony Brown will be a free agent coming off a major injury, so there's a chance the Cowboys are able to bring him back on a team-friendly deal. Still, they need to get another young and talented cornerback on this roster to pair with Diggs and rising star Dayron Bland to help solidify this secondary. If you remember, Dallas was wiped out a few years ago when they were looking to take one of the top 2 cornerbacks in the 2021 draft. This time around, with another deep crop of cornerbacks, the Cowboys should have the ability to go get a top prospect out of this year's draft, should one fall to them in either the first or second round of the upcoming draft. They can't afford to pass on a cornerback with one of those picks this year. If they want to make sure teams aren't going to strictly target the receivers opposite Diggs, put someone on the other side of the field that can hold his own in coverage and allow that dangerous defensive front to pin their ears back and go after the quarterback. And now we're going to take a look at some of the latest news and headlines from AT&T Stadium. Dallas Cowboys are making coaching hires left and right after they dismissed several members of Mike McCarthy's staff after the season. Just last week, Dallas reached an agreement with a longtime Dan Quinn disciple, Will Harriger. Harriger spent this past season as an offensive assistant at USC, and it's widely understood he worked almost exclusively with quarterback Caleb Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner and projected first overall pick of the upcoming draft. The 2024 draft. Fast forward 48 hours from last week, I should say. ESPN broke the news that the Cowboys hired former rejected draft target Sharif Floyd, former first-round pick of the Vikings in 2013. Floyd played 2 seasons in college at Florida under then defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. Floyd's career was cut short due to nerve damage following the 2016 knee surgery and has since made the transition into the coaching field. He even interned with the Cowboys at training camp this past season. Floyd will serve as Dallas's assistant defensive line quality control coach. And now we're going to take a look at our next topic. And that is 3 contracts that are holding back the Dallas Cowboys right now. The Dallas Cowboys know they need to make some moves in order to get over the hump in 2023, but it won't be easy. They entered the offseason in the negatives on the salary cap, which will severely limit them in the offseason. They're going to have to make moves in order to get out of the red, and even more to be able to upgrade their roster. With that being said, we're going to talk about 3 contracts that are holding them back right now. Starting at number 3, DeMarcus Lawrence. A second-round pick in 2014, DeMarcus Lawrence has been one of the better defenders for several years now in Dallas. He had another strong campaign in 2022 with 65 tackles and 6 sacks, earning a trip to the Pro Bowl, his first since 2018. As good as he is, he's accounting for far too much money right now. Entering the offseason, Lawrence counts for $26 million against the cap, but they can't do much at all with that other than restructuring. A release would result in $35 million in dead money and would cost another $9 million against the cap. They could potentially restructure and save roughly $9 million, but that would mean there would be a higher hit down the road, and they would still have $17 million tied to Lawrence this season. This doesn't mean Lawrence should be gone. He's still one of the best defensive ends in the entire NFL, but his contract could end up holding him back this season from going after any free agents. And of course, at number 2, Ezekiel Elliott. By now, it's been rehashed over and over and over. We all know Ezekiel Elliott should have never been given the insane contract Dallas gave him. Despite having 2 years left on his rookie deal, Jones and the Cowboys front office caved in on a holdout from Elliott. Rather than holding firm and proving the team is bigger than any individual, they gave a running back a 6-year extension worth $90 million. Of course, everyone who follows the NFL knows running backs are lucky to have 6 productive campaigns, but in Dallas, they decided to add that many years to a player who had already been in the NFL for 3 years. And it really wound up being an 8-year deal thanks to the 2 remaining. Now heading into the upcoming offseason, Elliott is scheduled to have a cap number of $16.7 million. The good news is that they can actually get out of his deal since they paid out the entire $50 million in guarantees. Because of this, he can be let go as a post-June 1st release and would count for $5.8 million in dead money, freeing up $10.9 million. Having said that, the move still isn't exactly a huge win. Making him a post-June 1st cut means they couldn't spend that money until then. So it's not as if they can go after any free agents. That's the definition of a contract that holds a team back. Next up, Dak Prescott. Teams that have to pay top-tier quarterbacks know how expensive it can be to keep them. The Cowboys should have known this, but they tried to get cheap with theirs, and it's still costing them in a major way. Dallas and Dak started discussing a contract in the range of $32 million back in 2020, but they balked at this, apparently trying to sell them on the whole star on the helmet being a reason to take a discount. The Cowboys had to hit Prescott with the franchise tag in 2020, giving him $31.4 million that season. They then hit him with the tag again in 2021, but that shot the deal up close to $40 million. That led to Prescott landing a 4-year, $160 million deal. Fast forward to now, and the front office has tried blaming Prescott for their cap situation. While it's true he has the highest number on the team, they made it worse by kicking the can down the road. They continue to do this with restructures, and that's why Prescott counts for $49 million right now. As is the case with most of those players, a restructure is most likely coming in order to get under the cap. If not, they're going to have a hard time getting anything done with $50 million tied to one player. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Give us a thumbs up if you like our video, subscribe to the channel, and find us on all major podcast platforms. And please consider leaving us a review on Good Pods, or Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. And let us know if there's any topics we missed or should have covered. And as always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you next time.